Hey, we're back at Leading Edge. He is Jim Obergefell, candidate for the Ohio House of Representatives, and Jerry Anderson. Good to have you guys along. I want to talk about some state stuff. First of all, you've pointed to, and you mentioned earlier, it's big for you, Jim. You announced this, jobs a big issue. I see we have what, 3,000 jobs, maybe more, but 3,000, I mean, really well-paying jobs. Thank you, Intel, coming to Central Ohio. Seems to me anybody in Ohio wants to work, Jim, can work. There are help wanted signs everywhere. So what would you like to change about the jobs picture in Ohio to improve it?
Well, Jerry, that is fantastic news for Ohio that Intel is doing that.
Right.
And I think what it comes down to is, yes, there are help wanted signs everywhere throughout the state, but a large majority of those help wanted signs are for low paying minimum wage jobs or worse, especially in the service industry. And we have a culture of treating treating labor as disposable and not paying them a living wage. And for me, it's really working to figure out how can we build a state where every person who wants to work can find a job, not just find a job, but find a job that actually pays them a living wage so that they can care for their family.
You have also mentioned and asked to Lake Erie. I mean, the guy, grew up in Sandusky, people. He better have some eyes on Lake Erie. Many Ohio farmers have adopted new best practices in an effort to keep algae feeding pollutants out of the western end of Lake Erie. But let's face it, all the experts agree, we're not going to hit the earlier agreed upon targets for phosphorus reduction in Lake Erie. What do you believe needs to happen to make a substantive difference out there in what is the source of water for a lot of us, Jim?
Right. Lake Erie, we rely on that for drinking water. It's so important. And, we have to support our farmers. As you say, a lot of them are making changes in their procedures, and that's fantastic. And that's something we need to encourage at the state level, to encourage farmers to think about their procedures. But we have to really focus on Lake Erie. And one of the things that I will do is revive the Lake Erie caucus. If we don't have representatives all along the coast of Lake Erie focused on that lake and putting together a comprehensive plan for the future, we're never going to have a lake that's as healthy, as clean as we want it to be and as it should be. So one of the things that I will absolutely do is start reaching out to those representatives along the lake to revive that caucus. I will invite the governor, whomever the governor happens to be, to the shores of Lake Erie to make sure that at a state level, the governor understands this is about more than just these districts. It's about the entire state because we all rely on that lake for many things.
A couple of other big issues. Let's do these as quickly as possible. HB6, the nuclear plant bailout, now at the center of a huge bribery scandal in Ohio. If Davis Bessie goes dark over that way, hundreds of well-paying jobs go with it. And those are families and spouses and kids. Jobs in your district. How would you have voted? I know we have to do the honesty system here because we know what actually happened, but what would you have done with that, Jim?
Well, Jerry, without having been in the trenches and actually reading that full proposal, all I can do is give you the way I think I would have voted. Yeah. Now, also understand that Davis Bessie, if that hadn't passed, Davis Bessie would not have closed the very next day.
Right.
Shutting down a nuclear power plant takes a very long time. So those jobs would not have disappeared immediately. And that would have given this district, those families, the municipalities, a chance to plan and figure out, well, what can we do to minimize the impact? But for me, it comes down to this. All of us across Ohio were asked to help support First Energy.
Right.
But our tax dollars should not be going to a coal-powered plant in Indiana. And that would have given me serious pause. And that would have been something that would have really made me want to, again, I didn't read the whole thing. I wasn't part of it. But based on that and that alone, I would have been hard-pressed to vote in favor of that.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for fighting for the rights of all of us. And we'll continue to cover your race. This is something late this week, folks, that people are talking about maybe moving the primary because of the time it's taken to try to get districts right. We'll stay on top of that. In the meantime, Jim Obergefell, thank you for your time. Continued success, and let's talk again.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
All right, and I'll be right back with more Leading Edge right after this.